Hey, this is Alex Piak, and welcome to the Dominant Agent Podcast, the place where real estate agents and brokers come to learn directly from the top agents, coaches, trainers, and industry influencers on how to build profitable, scalable, and enjoyable businesses by becoming the dominant agent in their market so they can live life on their terms. Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the Dominant Agent Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Piak, and as you know, we are absolutely committed to helping real estate agents build profitable, scalable, and enjoyable businesses by getting you access to the absolute best agents, coaches, trainers, and influencers in the industry. And today, I'm beyond excited to have Hoss Pratt on the show. Hoss Pratt is a nationally known authority at lead generation and lead conversion. He's demonstrated time and time again during his stellar career that using his revolutionary strategies can move brokers and agents from stuck to supercharged in just months, all while improving lives and changing fortunes. Hoss Pratt is the CEO and founder of Hoss Pratt Success Systems, the premier resource for agents and firms that want to grow and take their business to the next level. This renowned coaching and training firm helps clients build better real estate businesses. Hoss, welcome to the show.
What's going on, Alex? Thanks for having me.
Man, super excited to have you on. I've had the opportunity to get to know you over the last couple of years when I moved down to Dallas. I've heard you speak a few times. I've been on some of your trainings. I've had the fortune of hearing the backstory, and I'm excited to bring that to our listeners.
Sure.
What's really exciting is we were talking a little bit before the show. I think we have this unique commonality, and it was literally in your book before chapter 1. It was the first highlight of the book that I put in here, and I do have the book. It's you literally talked about if you're looking for the magic pill, you've come to the wrong place. You're talking about solid foundation, 12 essential philosophies to create a successful real estate business and dominate your market. And man, I just cannot wait to dive into that and give some nuggets to the agents listening today.
My favorite topics, man. I could sit here and talk shop all day long. I love it.
Yeah, 100%.
Let me tell you something, Alex. It's about skills, not magic pills, right? It's about going to work on yourself. And that's the key. And that's what I'm about. That's what my passion is like, being self-made, going and to me, that's where freedom is, buddy. And that's what I love to do. I teach, people how to not only experience that in their life, but also how to help other people experience that in their life. And I feel like that's why I was put on this earth, right? Is to help people see that, it's little things like how many people do you know in your life that are positive and enthusiastic? Like, think about it. And just everybody listening, I mean, in your life, like the people that you know, and not somebody you listen to, right? Not a podcast, or I'm talking about people in your community. How many people come to mind when they are positive, enthusiastic? Who are they? Alex, most people can't even think of one.
Yep.
And I believe being positive and enthusiastic is the key to success in a lot of ways. And it'll help you sell more. It creates energy. It solves a lot of problems. And that's what I'm about, buddy, is helping people see that, get that in themselves. And, it's what my passion is.
I love it, man. I love it. Early in your book, you talk about the beginning of your real estate career. And I want to share that story. Have you shared that story with the audience? Because your first 6 months to your next 6 months were dramatically different. And you were in a position where I think a lot of real estate agents are, right? They're trying everything and they're exhausting their financial resources doing it. And you kind of went through that. So can you share a little bit about what the beginnings of your real estate career look like?
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest, y'all, because for me, like, I barely made it through high school. I finished school at age 16. I got worked on a dairy farm. I was a farm boy, grew up in Missouri. I didn't go to college. Like, that was me. I had to go, like, nothing was ever given to me. Like, I've never asked for anything in my life. Like, I've always had to go get what is mine every single day. So when I got into real estate, I was in Dallas because I ended up in Dallas because a guy told me I needed to move, and my mentor Jimbo said move to Dallas. I moved to Dallas. I see a guy wearing a T-shirt that says "Ask me about real estate." I say, "Hey, what about real estate?" Long story short, I joined Keller Williams as a real estate agent, in my early 20s, and in a brand new market where I didn't know a single soul. I talked like a country redneck. I mean, I sounded country as hell, Alex. I was young. I looked young. I mean, all those things. That's the reason I know how important positive energy and being enthusiastic are, because it's what I use whenever I would, look like I was 14 on a listing appointment. You know what I'm saying? They don't care how ugly you are, how old you are, how young you are. As long as you're enthusiastic, it solves those problems. It's what it's about.
Yeah.
And I got into real estate with guns blazing, with a work ethic like nobody's business. I'm a farm boy. I moved here with something, with everything to prove. I had to succeed, and I was willing to do whatever it took to succeed. And I got into the business, and my first 6 months in real estate, I blew my life savings. And I was working 80 hours a week, but I didn't list a single home. I didn't work a single buyer. And it was brutal. And I was at a point where I was going to move home, and I didn't. And I made the decision to stay, and I figured some things out, which we'll get into in a minute. But I'll tell you this: it wasn't because in my first 6 months I blew 50 grand and I didn't get results. It wasn't for a lack of effort. And this is what I want our people to hear in this and learn is just because you're working hard doing something doesn't mean it leads to results. And you need to self-assess quickly and accurately to determine what the effort you're putting in, if it's going to extract the result that you want. I'm all about being patient, persistent. It's what it takes. But be willing to pivot fast if you see a different way to get faster results. And for that, it took me 6 months and 50 grand. And I'll tell you this, though, I followed a model that was I won't mention a book. I won't mention any of that, but it was the model. It was the one that everybody said to follow. If you do this, you will be $1 million agent. And I'm telling you something, Alex, that book was like a Bible to me. I did everything it said. You don't know a single person on earth that implemented that system like I did my first 6 months in real estate. And I'm just saying this: 0 business, 0 buyers, 0 sellers, 0 closings, tons of effort, $50,000. And then the day I discovered for sale by owners, FSBOs, out there in the marketplace, people that want to sell their home, they're not represented by a real estate agent. The first day I called them, I got my first listing. And it was game over from there. Next day, I got my next listing. Third day, third listing. And that first month, I listed 28 FSBOs. And I remember having a conversation before I discovered FSBOs. And I know you got some questions, but I want to bring this full circle. Because I was about to move back, and I had a conversation with my mentor, Jimbo. And I said, "Hey, Jimbo, I called my dad. I said, Dad, I'm thinking about moving back. I've lost my life savings. I'm not getting results. Blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "Come on back. We'll figure it out." I hang up the phone. I call my mentor, Jimbo. I say, "Jimbo, man, this thing's not working out. It's not working, man. I lost all my money. I'm not getting the results that I want. I think I'm going to move back. I think I failed." And Jimbo says, "Hoss," and he paused. And I remember there was like a long silence. And I remember he goes, "Hoss." I said, "Yes." He goes, "If you move back, you're going to be the biggest effing loser that ever walked the planet. You're going to be the laughing stock of the town, and it will be the single biggest mistake you've ever made in your life." And he hung up the phone. And I remember in that moment, Alex, I made the decision that I'm never moving back, and I'm going to make something special with the one life that I was given. And I made that decision to burn the boat. So after that phone call, right, I remember that moment, it was over. I burned the boats. I'm all in. And I remember I walked into the office. I remember Mike Reese was a gentleman that I know had a lot of influence with you. And he was the guy that when I walked in the office, and I remember he had like 5 wrapped Hummers in the parking lot. I talk about it in my book, I believe. And I walk in and I ask my broker, I'm like, who is this guy? And she goes, oh, that's Mike Reese. He's, a few years older than you, and he's one of the top agents in the area. I went and introduced myself. I said, hey, Mike Reese, I'm Hoss Pratt. I go, how do you doing all this? He goes, I go after FSBOs. I said, how do you go after FSBOs? Where do you get that list? He said, well, have you ever heard of, is Red X or Land Voice? And Warnox was, I believe, what it was called back then. Warnox by owner. And I go, how do you get the FSBOs? He goes, Warnox. I'm like, what's Warnox? He goes, they send you the FSBOs every day. And I'm like, I've never heard of anything like that in my life. And I left there. I said, thanks, Mike. Nice to meet you. I went to my apartment. I bought Warnox, called that list, set my first appointment that day. That's what saved me, was, that conversation with Mike Reese. And then he sees me getting all the trophies in the office, that following month. He's like, what did you do? I said, remember Warnox? Thank you.
That's
and
awesome.
him and I, let me tell you something. Him and I went on to compete, not only in real estate, but to the point where both of us, are influencers in the real estate industry, to the point where we help coach, the masses, train the masses. And it's just, to me, it's pretty special where I see where that relationship, took both of us. It's a gift. Competition's a gift.
For sure. Yeah, especially with that mindset, man. So many people view competition negatively, but to say it's a gift, something that pushes you and propels you forward, that is that's awesome, man. That's a great mindset. I'm really curious. So you had 6 months. You were following a model. Why do you think now, looking back, all the coaching that you've done, training, speaking, why do you think following that model, why didn't it not work? What strategies were off?
Man. Here it is. Here's the distinction. I was waiting for it to come to me versus me going to it. I would go knock on 5 doors a day. So I would do the work of, hey, I'm Hoss. I'm in real estate. If you ever need real estate needs, or if you know anybody, close friends, family members looking to buy a home in the next 30, 60, 90 days, I did that. And then I put them on a follow-up campaign that the model said that I was supposed to. And I put them on that, expecting that to bring them in. And that process is a lengthy process. It takes years. And it can be done, but it takes years. It's called relationship building. And postcards don't build relationships. And postcards, don't do the lifting. Postcards don't set the appointment. They may create some interest, but I found that I want to control everything. So I want to control, if I want a listing, I can go get a listing. And that was the distinction is like with FSBOs and expired listings. I love those because it allowed me a place every day to go out and get what was mine. And I didn't have to wait for them to call me. I didn't have to wait for my postcard. I didn't have to wait for nothing other than me making a next call, dial, next, going through the script, saying the same thing over and over and over again, competing with Mike Reese like that on every single appointment, on every call. Mike Reese just called me. Hoss Pratt just called me. Just going at it, dude, and just doing that for 3 to 6 hours a day. And to me, there's freedom in that, Alex, because I control that process. I don't control the process of waiting for people to come up with the decision to pick up a phone and call me. Does that make sense?
100%. What I heard you say is there are strategies out there that are passive. You have no control. They are future-paced business. And unfortunately, I think a lot of agents are trained, go get your website, build out these drip campaigns, do these types of strategies, all passive lead generation, right? You have no control of your success. And what you did was say, these people are raising their hand. They're trying to sell their home. They have motivation.
You think?
Let's go talk to those people because they're doing something now where everything else I'm doing is 6-month, 12-month, 18-month, 24-month business down the road. Now, those are good strategies.
And by the way,
for
it costs
building
a lot of money to run it, right? With no business.
Absolutely, dude. The cash turnover rate on that is 6 months, 12 months. Like you're running out of cash before you ever get the reward of the effort you put in, which by the way is another huge pitfall that we see agents fall into. So I love the fact that you just took action, but what you did was you said, Well, I can focus on long-term. The challenge is when you focus on long-term, your commission checks are long-term. You went, found the now business, and you were assertive, not passive.
Yes.
Took control.
Here's the thing. I want people to hear this because this is something that I see it. I've coached thousands of agents. I've been coaching and training and speaking and, creator of Listing Boss, Academy. And that's what I do is I give people systems to go out there and succeed. And like I've got over 5,500 hours of coaching real estate agents on the phone one-on-one, like 5,500 hours, 1,000 seminars, 48 states. Like real estate agents are my deal. Like that's what I do. I know them. I help them. Like I know them inside out. I know what they struggle with. And let me tell you something. The distinction of what I just said is what stops and costs a lot of people's success is they wait for it to come to them versus them going to it for whatever reason. Maybe it's because they're uncomfortable going to it. They lack the skills. So they'd rather, launch a Facebook ad campaign that spends tons of money generating a few leads if they don't have any skills to convert the leads. Or they send out a postcard campaign that costs way too much and they don't get the return. And here's what happens is you miss the opportunity to build skills. And what I want people to hear are, especially younger people, like be patient, but also look for seasons like where you're in a place for a reason because you're developing the skills that you need for the next level. Like enjoy the process. You're going to be on the phone for 2 years. Guess what? You're in the penitentiary of results, dude, and you got a 2-year sentence. So that's what you're going to live with. You're in prison. This is what I look like. You're in prison for 2 years. You can't bitch. You can't complain. All you got to do is just do it. Like there are no other options. You're on the phone for 3 to 6 hours every day for 2 years. Shut up. Go to work. And that number one has to happen, but also recognize those periods that, think about this. Those years that I was on the phone prospecting, I didn't know that they would lead to helping thousands of people. I didn't know that I was being prepared. I was mastering selling one-to-one. I didn't know I was being prepared for presenting and selling one-to-many. Right. And that's what I would say is wherever you're at, make sure you're at a place you're growing and developing your skills. And the skills that are next level, your next level skills, which I know, Alex, you're good at that. So you know a thing about that.
Yeah, dude, I love it. I hope everybody listening wrote down the word skills because to me, skills trump motivation. Everybody's motivated to be successful. If you're not getting the result, there's probably a skill you haven't mastered. And you said 2 years. And that's mastery. Because if you want to unlock unlimited earning potential and truly live the quality of life you desire on the other end of the effort, it's all skills, man. And at every point of your real estate, I look at real estate in a linear line, right? You have generate the lead, close the sale. Think about all the opportunities in between there. There's the phone call, there's negotiating, there's face-to-face presentations, there's negotiating home. Dude, every single one of those, you nailed it, is an absolute skill. So what you need to identify is what skill is your bottleneck in your current business. Be pig-headed discipline on mastering that skill. Then look for the next opportunity of what's the next most needed skill. That's kind of, there's the book of constraints called The Goal, the theory of constraints. And I look at our businesses very similar to that. And I look at developing skills very similar to that, right? You can have a tremendous skill of face-to-face presentations, but if you can't convert anybody over the phone to meet with you, you know what I'm saying? Like skills matter.
It's a lot of it's mindset. It's comfort. Like a lot of people just feel warm and cozy, when they're generating 500 Facebook leads in a day, right? I mean, it makes them feel good. But like the reality is you still got to get those people on the phone. I mean, don't you agree? Don't you agree?
1,000%.
All sales funnels goal is to lead to the phone call first.
100%. 100%.
Right?
It's our sales process. But how many agents? How many
all
agents
roads lead to the phone?
Right. but yet people are trying to circumvent the natural sales process, right? It's crazy.
I've never been on an appointment, a qualified, good appointment, without speaking to the person first. Like,
Nope.
you know, and that's, and so at some point you're going to have to convert. So, you know, Alex, I wrote a book called, that's going to be available this year. It's called Skillionaire. And I'm really excited about this book. And I believe it's going to be a bestseller, man. I'm serious. Like, it's a message that I want people to hear. Like, you know, we're all in this world, this busy world with all this noise, comparing ourselves insides to other people's outsides, paying attention to what everybody else is doing, comparing ourselves to everybody and everything. And like, we're always looking for the thing. We're always looking, just because we can do something doesn't mean we should. Like, those periods of when you're in a place where your bills are paid and you feel like you're growing and you're doing meaningful work, but you're mastering those skills. If you have that mindset, it'll change everything for you. Like, if you want to be a millionaire, that's how you think. I wanted to be a millionaire, like, my whole life. I wanted to make $1 million a year. That's what I wanted to do forever. And I wanted to that was my floor standard for myself. And to do that, it requires skills. One-to-one, one-to-few, selling one to a many. I want to give you an example. When I learned, I was telling my wife this last night. Like, when I moved to Dallas, I got a job as a door-to-door salesman, and I sold door-to-door. I knocked on 100 doors a day, every door, every floor in Texas, where it's 115 degrees, like pounding the pavement, dude. I'd go into it. I've been into almost every building in Dallas, Fort Worth, because that was my territory. I sold door to door. And like, I would go straight up into an office building, high rise, and I'd start going from floor to floor. I'd go from the 3rd floor to the 7th floor, 11th floor to the 17th floor, down to the 3rd, down to the 2nd, down. And I had this saying, why am I doing that? Avoiding security, because they're trying to kick me out the whole time, right? So the whole time I'm trying to get all the sales I can out of the building, speaking quickly, trying to, you know, be good enough to where they don't call the security on me, right? And like, when I learned doing that, I'm so grateful for that, man. Like, I'm telling you, like, I learned everything when I went door to door. I learned how to control people. I learned how important enthusiasm is. I knew how important it is to put something in somebody's hand where they possess it, where they take ownership. And it was just a period that, you know, most people dreaded. I mean, every day I had people with me. We call them a day of observation. And I was the top salesman in the office, but one of the top 5 in the country. I got really good at this. And people would come, like, every day I had somebody next to me because they were wanting to see if they wanted the job. 50% of the time they would leave before lunch, right? By the end of the day, you know, maybe 30% finished the day, and we may have hired 10. Like, and that's how hard the job was. But I look at it like a prison sentence. And everything I've done at every level, when I've gone to the penitentiary and I did the work, it's worked out, buddy. I mean, that's my model. I'm not saying it's the only model. It's a hard model, dude. It's like, it's not easy, but like, nobody can take these skills from me, buddy. Like, and there's a lot of freedom in that.
And a lot of the skills you're talking about, which I think are crucial for real estate agents to identify with, is, man, your skills, I believe, are invaluable because they work in every market condition. When the market gets tight, which it will again, it's just a cyclical market, man, all the fancy automated type stuff goes away. And a lot of times what I found when the market crashed in 2007, 8, 9, I was in Connecticut selling real estate. You know what worked best? Going back to the fundamentals.
Yes, always.
And those are skills, man. But unfortunately, a lot of people aren't trained on those. And I think that's what you do a great job at. I'm curious, why did you focus? I know FSBOs expired, but why did you focus on the sell side versus the buy side?
I've never worked a buyer in my life, ever. And that's saying a lot, like, because I was just I was listing focused. That was my thing. And I never worked buyers, but because I never bought a lead in my life. Because if you have listings, you don't need to buy leads. So there's freedom in listings. And I didn't have to work weekends because I did what it took Monday through Friday. At the time I was young and single. I had to go to the lake on the weekends, go back at hit it hard during the week, Monday through Friday. I'm married with family now. Now it's a whole different world, right? When you're married, you think, I used to thought I mastered time management. Then I got married and had kids, right? And then you got to master it at a different level.
Oh, completely right? Different level.
Completely different. The seasons are just, such a blessing. But yeah, I mean, yeah. What was your question?
No, I think you nailed it, man. You were very focused on, I think you were purposeful on choosing listings over buyers because of quality of life and scalability. Right. And you also knew that quality listings brought quality buyers.
Here's why. Buyers take time, right? So if I'm working with a buyer, it's taking, like me, right? And I'm not, like, I had buyers agents working with me, right? People, but like I personally did not, because the time that I was in a car with a buyer, I would feel like I was being robbed of time on the phone. Like what am I doing wasting this time? Like, can't I have somebody else go show this house? Like, I need to be talking to 30 people in that meantime, setting appointments. I'm a glorified appointment setter, Alex. Like, well, that's the key, buddy. That's the key. If you can look at yourself as a glorified appointment setter and love it, that's the mindset you need.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what you identify was profit producing activities. Which activity produced the greatest end result? And you being on the phone surpassed you sitting in a car.
Yes. And I call them, in my book, I call them high leverage activities.
Yeah.
Right. And you also have high leverage skills, but high leverage activities in real estate. Here's the thing for you real estate folks. The only thing you need to be doing every day are prospecting, presenting, and building relationships. That's it. Like everything else that you're doing, it's taking you away from prospecting, presenting, building relationships, and leading. So if you're not presenting and you're not building relationships, then you should be prospecting. Like if it's 5 o'clock and I have no appointments because I go on appointments from 4 to 7 and I don't have any appointments, that I'm on the phone setting appointments. I always have an appointment from 4 to 7. I'm either on listing appointments or I'm setting appointments. And that's the routine, Alex. And I think that the distinction here is a daily method of operations where you organize your day to where it organizes those activities. Presenting in the afternoon, prospecting in the morning, you're a maker in the morning, manager in the afternoon. Right. Building relationships is something that you're just always intentional with doing. Right. It's top of mind. Like that's a high leverage skill that only you can do. And those are the 3 things, buddy. So never input your own listings, never take a deal from contract to close, never go to lunch with the vendor. Like if they're trying to get your business, usually it should be on your terms. Right. Like all those things. I mean, I wouldn't even go to the office ceremonies and the office meetings, and I didn't join the ALC. Like I remember the office got so mad because they wanted me to join the ALC. I'm like, why would I do that? Like, if I'm there, I can't be here. Like, and they would bring me my trophies in while I'm on the phone and just set them on my desk. Thank you. And that's the mindset that for me is where I hope everybody gets is that focus and that just working on the right things and having the right mindset in the process and being grateful for everything you have while you pursue all you want, and like truly getting free, which is on the other side of another skill that you mastered.
I love it. Yeah. 100%, man. So obviously FSBOs expired. Were those the 2 primary lead generation sources that you used, and also the same strategies you teach today?
You know what? I don't teach FSBOs and expireds. Like, I started my career teaching that. That's like, a lot of people would know me as that. The FSBO expire guy. It's probably people who've been around for over 10 years. But over the course of 10 years, it's, my message, all that's evolved considerably from, and what I would say is it's more marketing based. And the answer is niches. And there's riches and niches. And whatever niche we're going to go after, we're going to dominate. And we go after niches with focus and intention. And so that's the idea is they're niches. So FSBOs and expireds are a niche, just like probate leads, just like a subdivision or a farm area, Facebook, right? Those are different niches. And that's what, I just believe those are the 2 best ones, buddy, because like you said earlier, There's not many other niches that 100% of the niche wants to sell their home. I want listings. That's all I want. So what it does, it saves money that where you don't have to spend money to see who these people are, right? So if you don't have 100% of a niche that wants to sell, you don't know who they are. Like if I'm farming a neighborhood, part of my strategy has to be to get the people who are interested to raise their hand. And that costs me a lot of money. And that requires marketing skills and messaging and right? You know this. It requires a message to get them to take action. And I just like going after niches that I have control over the result. And FSBOs and expires are my favorites.
Love it. So if we were to transplant you right now and you were back into real estate and you were starting from ground zero and you wanted to dominate the market, what 3 niches are you going after?
FSBOs, expireds, and my sphere of influence, past clients database. And those are the 3. And I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to be like a junkyard dog on those 3. And I'll invest money in places that will help me dominate those 3. So like, for example, real estate agents spend a lot of money. And the filter that you should spend money in as a real estate agent is does this help me get closer to where I want to be? Does this help me? Well, I'm already doing something. Like if I'm already making calls every day, getting an auto dialer may not be a bad idea. You're already making calls. You see, like
productivity, right?
Make those investments in those tools, right? That will make you more productive. Exactly. More efficient. I call them power tools. Like when I mowed grass, I had the best equipment. Like I still do best equipment. I always had the best equipment because not only do I demand the best, but it makes me look good. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Like I can cook the best steak you've ever sunk your teeth into, Alex. I promise you.
Well,
like everybody eats my steak. Everybody. I'll cook. They say best steak I've ever had. But I'll give you a secret. The tool of which I cook the steak on does a lot of the heavy lifting for me. Right? Even though you may think it's my skillionaire skills, I know how to cook that steak to that perfection with that temperature, proper moist. But guess what? The big green egg makes me look good. You see that? Make those investments in those things that'll make you look good.
Not the shiny object, not the silver bullets, not the get rich quick schemes, which a lot of people are pulled into.
Never. So you never hired an ad agencies that are going to generate you the Facebook leads. You never hire the SEO people. All those people that you think are going to bring you a result. Here's the answer: absolutely none of them will get you a result.
So, man, with the new book coming out, the Skillionaire book, what do you believe are the 2 or 3 skills agents absolutely need to master today in order not just to sell more homes, but literally dominate their community in their market, become the go-to agent in their market?
Here it is. You ready for it?
Yeah.
Presenting one-to-many, influencing, selling, persuading, all one-to-many, which is when you're able to deliver a message for however long it is to the masses for a period of time. It may start off with a first maybe a 3-minute video. Then it may turn into a 10-minute video. Then maybe a 30-minute webinar, an hour seminar, an all-day boot camp. And all of a sudden what happens is that skill, because that skill is going to be required in the new era. Video, right, Alex? If you don't have a skill and confidence of being able to present and carry yourself one-to-many, it's gonna prevent you from leveraging a lot of these tools. So presenting one-to-many is a skill that I would go hard to work hard on. And I know for me, I learned that in the trenches. And when I did seminars, I did 1,000 seminars. I would do 3 a day, all along, Alex, knowing I was mastering the skill of one-to-many. And that's the skill, buddy. So more video, right? More seminars, more webinars, more all things getting your message out there, more podcasts, more Facebook live shows, all of those things. And a lot of people are uncomfortable doing it. So get comfortable doing it is the skill that I would suggest.
Man, that's awesome. I love that. Yeah, video. What are your thoughts? And I just want, and we'll wrap it up here, but what are your thoughts on, you mentioned video. I believe that video the deliverance of a content strategy that demonstrates your expertise, that positions you as the expert in your market, that becomes timeless. That becomes a huge competitive advantage in any market shift. And it also positions you completely different than the disruptors, the flat fees, all those things we see coming in. When you are positioned as the expert and you're delivering content, I believe people will start to seek you because of the value they get from your message.
Absolutely. But here's what I would tell you. That's a process. Becoming the expert is a process. Like, there are no free tickets to Expertville. And you gotta walk the talk at some point, meaning you gotta have those skills. And that's a messy period. It's a sloppy period. It's a uncomfortable period of time. And that resistance prevents a lot of people from getting through it. I would give it, like, think about a turbulence. The first time you go live on Facebook, it's going to be like when you take off in a jet airplane and you hit turbulence. Everybody's going to just be like shooting Uzis at you. Hey, all the haters, right? Everybody's got comments. You don't have the skills. Who do you think you are? And here's what you got to do, experts. You got to get through the turbulence. And eventually you will prove them wrong. And be willing to take all the bullets through that process, because it ain't about them. It's about you, skillionaire. Like, you're going through, it's about you. You're in the jungle. And you'll do whatever. Like, give it to me. It fuels me. And you'll get to a point where even your biggest haters will become your biggest fans. And if you're committed to the long run, like I am, like I'm committed, my lifetime is committed to influence and helping people. And you'll get through it. And there's nothing like it when you get through it. There's nothing like helping people for a living. And you're right. But even in that process, you learn how to shoot video better, don't you? Right?
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Even that, like, you may be shooting the video for 3 years before you realize that there's an art to shooting video and writing a script. I'll give you an example. Every video, not every video, but if you want, like, think about this. Every movie follows this framework. A character has a problem that meets a guide that helps them gives them a plan, helps them avoid failure, ends in success. All of it follows that. So a video, you got to state at the top the reason that the people need to watch the video. So if you just go into a video, hey, this property 123 Main Street's a beautiful home. I mean, this is a brand new listed. They don't know why they need to listen. Versus, hi, it's Shirley. And listen, if you're looking in the market to buy a home, you know how hard it is to find properties out there, and they are just flying off the market. But let me tell you something. I got one that you're going to love. It's a property see the difference? Yeah. Like, now I know why I need to listen to that. But even that process may take years. And that's what I'm saying. You don't know it all. So don't build a know-it-all wall, and be open-minded.
Yeah. I love video. But it is not instant gratification. It is the long-term, like you
humiliating.
Said. Yeah. But man, it's a skill of one to many that when you master, you truly build a brand. Think about if you were going to build your brand with TV. How many hundreds of thousands of dollars would you have to spend? And you're not going to get the reach to the perfect audience like you can leveraging video with Instagram and Facebook.
Right.
So I agree, man. I love it. Thank you for sharing. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys have pages and pages of notes. I mean, Hoss literally dropped some tremendous nuggets, gave you things you could be implementing right now into your business. Hoss, I really appreciate your time, man. Any last minute things you want to share, how we can get a hold of you, your books?
Yes. You can achieve anything you want in life and business. Write this down. These are the keys. If you have the right mindset, you have a model to follow, and you take massive action. You got to have the right mindset always. You got to always be having the right model that you're following, and you got to do your part by taking massive action. And I want to give you guys a gift that I believe is the model for real estate right here. It's the definitive blueprint for real estate success. I want to send this to you. It's a physical copy. Here's what I'll do. You pay shipping and handling. I won't charge you for the book. It's like a little over $7. Or you can go to Amazon. You can get it for like, the download for Kindle for less, but get this book. It has over 200 and some 5-star reviews. This book changed a lot of people's lives. Like, I'm serious. Read it. And let me know what you think of it. But you go to listingbossbook.com, listingbossbook.com to get it for a little over $7 just for you guys.
That's awesome, man. I definitely appreciate that. And if anybody wants to seek you out, man, what's the best way to do that?
You know what? Instagram, man. I got my name, Hoss Pratt. It is pretty unique. So there's only one of me, I think. There's actually another guy, but I think he's like, I think he's in prison or something. He's not. Yeah,
we don't have to worry about him.
Yeah. The distinction. So follow me, Hoss Pratt, anywhere on social. Reach out. I can help you. I want to help you, and get the book and read it. And that's where I want to leave you all. Make it happen.
Man, thank you so much, man. I definitely appreciate you carving out some time to add some value back to the real estate community. They need it. They need the how-tos, the tactics. They don't need more high-level crap, people just selling them stuff that doesn't work. And man, you delivered that how-tos, those tactics, the lead sources today. So a lot of value added today. Thank you so much.
It's about skills, not magic pills, Alex.
I love it. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Dominant Agent Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please be sure to leave a comment and review on whatever platform you're listening on so that we can continue to bring you the very best guests.